witnesses in there.
That's fine.
We
I'll have
don't
a chat with
wanna
him. That's fine. Do you have a quick chat with me, sir? We'll have a very quick chat, and then I'll probably be the end of it.
Okay.
What a waste of police time and resources.
Obviously,
Freedom of speech and public space.
Okay, can I just have a conversation? So obviously we've been called it for obviously what's been described as that. Obviously she said there's no offences. I can only advise. Just don't go back for the time being. That's the end of the matter. Happy with that?
Just don't go back. What?
Well, ultimately she said they don't request you inside the property. It's private property, and
It's not private property, it's a public community hall.
ultimately there's somebody that will probably run that, and if she says that she is probably representative of somebody who runs that, if they say they don't want you inside, that's the end of it.
But it's a public hall, is that right?
But ultimately, if it's run by
I can
somebody,
still go in there, and I haven't caused any.
well, there's always
problem.
there's always two sides.
It's somebody's opinion that
What's
is,
going on at the moment? Is it
False allegations have been made. He's a victim of harassment,
I'm
is what he
speaking to
is.
him.
And I'm talking to
Yeah, and
you.
I'm speaking
You're a
to him.
public servant.
I'm speaking to him.
And I'm talking to
So,
you. You're a
can I
public
please-
servant.
Go on.
Sorry?
What was going on from yours?
Well, what went on was it's a bit of a long story, but I know Laura because she runs the official community-led
Yes.
group against the pipeline action against CCS.
Yeah.
Number
And
3044.
she's against the pipeline, obviously, and so am I.
Yes.
So we're both on the same side as far
Yeah.
as that goes. But I was telling Laura about last Monday we had a pipeline event
Yeah.
at the Floral Pavilion in
Yeah.
New Brighton, and in attendance was the Wirral Council leader. Her name is Councillor Paula Basnet. And I run a blog which is called Wirral in It Together. It's basically a political blog which calls out the council if I see that they're not representing the people or whatever they're doing. They could be involved in some nefarious activity in the local council, and they have been over the years. But I thought I would approach the council leader because she has been associated with a criminal by the name of Asif Hamid. Now Asif Hamid runs the call centre in the contact centre in Birkenhead.
Yeah.
Do you know that
I
place?
know
It's
it,
on the
yeah.
Full British, yeah. There's 1,300 staff. I think he's still the CEO there. But it turned out that the Times newspaper did an article on the 29th of September this year called identifying Asif Hamid as a criminal. He basically called the BBC Children in Need charity out of £4,500 back in the 90s. Yeah. So I thought that was because the council leader was closely associated with Asif Hamid,
Yeah.
i.e. she was the CEO of the local business chamber, the Wirral Chamber of Commerce, for many years, and Asif Hamid was the chairman of the same Wirral Chamber of Commerce over the same years, and I thought the newspapers should have been onto that and calling them out or getting a statement from them or from the council leader. So I thought this is my opportunity to approach the council leader and get a statement from her. So I asked my friends to record it, which would be a good idea. So I did that, and my friend recorded it. I approached the council leader and I asked her whether she'd made a statement to the newspapers, and I asked her if she could make a statement there and then to me about her associations with this criminal, and she turned her back on me, sort of feigned a conversation with another councillor, and then another councillor came across and ushered them away.
You're right.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
I was wondering whether you, in the Sunday Times on the 29th of March, there was a story, an expose really on Asif Hamid, you know Asif, yeah? I was wondering if you could make a statement on that, Paula, would that be possible? Have the newspapers asked you to make a statement, yes, Councillor? Have the newspapers asked you to make a statement, Councillor? Okay, thank you. You're not talking to me. Okay, thank you. I ushered them away. It was a guy called Steve Fowkes. Now, he was the council leader when Wirral Council were found guilty of abusing learning disabled people many years ago, but there was never any accountability for that, and it all got hushed up. He was the guy who ushered them away to so-called safety. And I approached Laura today to tell her that story because it was linked to the pipeline, and to ask whether she was sympathetic with me on this, just as a fellow council taxpayer. And Laura basically said, Paul, I'm not here to discuss that. You're going to have to get out of here, get out of this room. And I wasn't getting aggressive at all. I just basically said, Laura, please, as a fellow council taxpayer, you really should be sympathetic with my situation here. I'm trying to call out officials, you know. Okay, these officials have said that they are sympathetic with and they're objecting to the pipeline. That's great. Cheshire West Council have also done that, as far as I know. Fantastic. But it just worries me that Laura would not back me up on this. So, and that's what caused the problem. And then Laura started getting calling people around her to help her, and then they basically said, yeah, you're going to have to get out of here, mate. And then Laura was shouting, get out, get out.
Well, she was the one just aggressive there. Yeah.
But I didn't cause a ruckus or
no, as I said,
problems,
I'm quite satisfied from what you're saying. For you know, if you can really go in there and try to engage with that, that's just part
I will go now because I've got to go and do Sunday dinner for the family.
It's a total waste of police resources.
We can call down here because basically
it's an overreaction.
Not an allegation, but essentially some sort of signs of negative. I come down here, really engage. This is basically, we just act on the information we get given. And as I said, from your side, you come down here and they're very reasonable sort of democratic purpose, if I'm going to be pretentious. I'm quite happy. They've requested you leave. Obviously, she's come over. There's probably going to be a different side of the story that they're going to get. But from my side of the stuff, from where I stand as police officer, I'm quite happy, you're free to do what you want.
Well, I can tell you now, I've known him for years. He does not have an aggressive bone in his body, and I can give him a robust character witness statement.
As I said, I'm not taking his details. I have no reason to verify. I'm not saying there's any criminal offence has been occurred. So, sirs, you enjoy that. I'm going to have a quick chat to them.
Right, freedom of speech. You need to remind her, freedom of speech and Article Rights, Human Rights, Article 8. Yeah.
Ultimately, well, fair enough, as I said, but there's also Section 4, Public Order Act Section 5.
Yeah.
I'm going to get into the minutiae of legislation, which I'm not particularly wanting to.
Well, your legislation doesn't govern us. I'm a sovereign woman, not a corporation. No, I don't care. Justice Holt, April 73. Every man and woman has the right to live freely without laws, without their consent. Primary legislation you need to learn, mate.
Well,
yeah, come on, want to quote legislation at me?
One good